Welcome back. I'm here with Selfie after a really crazy game. How are you feeling about this victory? Because in the beginning, it seems like you were not going to take it. Talk me through the last minutes of the game. What made you grab this victory in the end?
Well, I think enemies kind of screwed up in the end. I think they should have finished the game. But early game went pretty horrible, and then this whole game was kind of a fiesta, I would say. But this win is important for us, so I'll take it. But
yeah, I mean, you fell against Fnatic yesterday, but that doesn't really matter. It's one of the top teams. You guys have really picked it up since last week. Can you talk me through what changed within the team? Because I had thoughts from veteran yesterday, but I want to have your thoughts on that.
Well, what changed after last week?
Well, what changed from the beginning of the split?
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't there since the beginning, but what changed after Shuk joined, I can say, he gives a lot of experience. He has a lot of experience. So with that, all our games seem a lot easier with him. But also, it's not all Shuk. Shuk is incredibly good, but we all are learning. We're all learning. I can give my input, Shuk gives input. I think everyone gives good input in scrims. So we're just slowly learning, and eventually we're gonna. I hope we go to playoffs. Yeah.
And where do you think there's still room for improvement?
I mean, early game, because last two games we screwed up in the early game so hard. But besides that, I think maybe just mid game we have mistakes here and there. We don't really do too much, but I think it's small mistakes here and there.
Well, still have 3 weeks to take things up a bit, and congratulations, of course, for this victory today. And we're gonna send it back to Shux and the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Laure. Wow. Whew. H2K just crawling back into that game and winning it. And oh my gosh, Giants will be looking back at this game. If in the event that they don't make playoffs, this is where they'd be like, oh, that is where we're
this could very well be the deciding factor. But it was so much about individuals just making those plays. If you ever want to just a highlight reel of hero moments, this is the game to do it, because you had Shuk, you had Smitty J, you had Prosk, every single member made one play that won it all, and it was just, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all those hero moments.
Well, you name all those individuals, and also Sheriff, that rookie AD carry from H2K, player of the game. Well, that's not him, I think. That is Selfie. But Sheriff, 63% of the votes, I got confused there. Because, as you said, all of the members had to kind of do their own hero play to make it. But I think the Sheriff has flown under the radar because H2K hadn't been performing well, but he's developing quite well.
He had great team fighting yesterday against Fnatic. Today, in the final moments when he had to make the play, just so much awareness and good recognition of what he could do in the moment. Really impressive to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing what development he can make throughout the rest of the split.
Great stuff indeed. And now we're going to talk some more about AD carries in our next matchup between Schalke and Splyce, two teams that are tied in the standings. Yesterday, Schalke managed to come back against Misfits. It was also kind of a lost game for them. Misfits had a fantastic start, but the AD carry, their rookie, Upset, he did similar as the H2K, amazing things to get back into that game for Schalke.
And it's so important for Schalke because they've had some tough weeks. They are finally living up to the hype that they had coming into the split, and I feel like that it's going to be such a massive confidence booster. When Upset finally took the pressure off himself, he was able to play like the style that we saw in the Challenger Series, and very much what we expected from him, and I'm hoping that he can continue that play in today's game.
Yeah, great stuff from Upset, but he's facing a tough challenge today. He's up against Splyce and up against Cobby. And well, Cobby, if Splyce has not been performing very consistently, this AD carry has. Every single week, he's been putting up great numbers for his team.
Yes, Cobby is the guy that Splyce often rely on to be the individual to help carry them into the wins. When he does well, Splyce does well. When he doesn't do well, no one really steps up to pick up the slack, and that's why we have so much focus on the AD carry down in the bottom lane. But the key difference between him and Upset is he is known for consistency. We've already said it, we're going to keep saying it, whereas you look at this guy, and up until last game, we haven't seen that same kind of form. He's been the one that sometimes cost his entire team the game, and that's why we need to see him be more like Cobby and be more of that consistent AD carry that Schalke can look to rely on.
Yes, that is the key word, consistency. Splyce has gone 1-1 every single week of the split so far, so Schalke really has no chance, right?
I mean, if they follow in the script, yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. So Schalke, I imagine they're going to be a little bit worried, but for me, one of the big things is these two teams were expected to be playoff teams. I rated them both as B and A tier coming into the split. I had extremely high expectations, but right now, it's actually really challenging to see if either of these teams will even make it into playoffs, because they're not showing the level of performance that I would expect from a top 6 team here in Europe.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned Upset is finally showing up, but finally it was really only one game, and with Splyce I have similar feelings. Odoamne had one fantastic game, but then the next one wasn't there. Consistency, the question for both of these teams, definitely looking at the teams that they will be playing in the next couple of weeks. G2 Esports, just next week for Splyce. Prediction-wise, in the race for playoffs, you didn't have Splyce in your playoff team. So is this then an easy win for Schalke for you?
My expectation would be that Schalke take the win here. And I just feel like right now, Splyce have all of the building blocks, but they are failing to put them together. We're seeing this amalgamation of things come together, and that's why sometimes we see moments of brilliance. But for me, there's not enough consistency. There's no real identity other than let's hope Kobe does well. And that's, for me, why I don't think they'll be able to qualify for playoffs and why Schalke will secure the win today.
Well, you've been wrong before. Let's see what happens. There's a lot on the line for both teams in this game. So let's head over to Drake and the Fish Show and get to the action.
Thank you, Shocks. I am, of course, no longer joined by Vedius. You saw him over there at the video wall. This is Martin Official Long.
I thought I was Vedius for a moment.
I thought that, too. You got very mad at me when I called you Vedius off air, though, and corrected me. So.
To be fair, we were making love, so wrong name.
You weren't supposed to tell quick shot.
Sorry.
Anyway, no one ever talked about that. Splyce, they're playing on the blue side. And they're a team. And the one that we're always going to look at is inevitably Kabe, because he is so good.
But enough about him for now.
Okay.
Other members on this team, Xerxes.
Yes.
Actually was active in the early game
Very
yesterday.
good yesterday.
Hey,
Well.
let's get more of that, because then he
like
can help his soul laners who are kind of struggling in the laning phase. Xerxes, gank your lanes.
Definitely what we want to see. Because they're now, if we look at the opposite side, they're going up against Schalke. And Schalke looked, it was back and forth yesterday, but Schalke, when it counted, in that clutch scenario, did come back. A lot of that was due to upset. But if you want to talk about junglers, maybe Pride is the guy you have to keep your eye on.
Yeah, funny enough, also active in the early game yesterday. Unlike most games we've seen from him. So maybe there are two junglers here, changing their identity, changing their style, getting more used to being on stage, and finding out that actually if you play around the soul laners, they can get ahead. And that's really good for your team, instead of having to rely just on late games. So I'm hoping both teams are going to be active early, but we might just get big late game team fights, and that's how it gets decided.
And that kind of makes me nervous, right? Because big late game team fights, that's kind of been a lot of what Splyce has been about over the course of
the only way to win, except for one game against Giants.
They played 2 games of 1-3-1, one against H2K, one against a very struggling Giants. Otherwise, you're right. It's been all team fight wins all the time. And Schalke are painfully aware of that, Fischio. As we enter picks and bans, as we see a lot of standard bans coming up, I think it's important to look back in the last time these two guys played, where Kabe and Splyce absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, this was the most standard Splyce game. Lose early. Seems like, okay, there's nothing they can do. Go to late game, and this was with the Zillion and Caitlyn comp. And then Kabe is like, okay, great, this is a perfect fight. No one is actually touching him at the moment, and he just gets like 1 kill. They speed him up, he gets another kill, and in the end, he gets a pentakill, and Splyce picks up wins. And this has again been most of their games so far. And Schalke, after watching this in the pick and ban phase, banned the Caitlyn. Smart.
Banned it. Don't want to see it. Jinx also taken off the board. Interesting that a lot of hyper carries are being taken away. I assume that there's something that we don't know about the Jinx.
That's a scrim thing, definitely.
Yeah. Skarner remains pretty much a permaban here in Europe since this week has started. Now Kalista taken off as well. And despite Kabe being one of the strongest members of the team, it looks like they do not want him to have a bad matchup against Upset.
Galio's still open. Nukdog played really well on Galio when we saw him a few weeks ago, and then when we saw him last week against Caps, he chain fed in the lane for no reason at all. So 50-50 on that one. I think it's a pick that could be very good for Niski. His TF performance was great. Galio can kind of do the same thing, but it's all about playing for side lanes and not for him. That could benefit Splyce a lot. First pick, Tristana is there, and typically, again, European teams are like, oh, Tristana, gotta lock that.
It's been so good. The resets, the safety, this AD carry pretty much does it all on her own without the need of any other real picks to set her up. But we're going to see what kind of strategy Splyce want to go towards. And we were waiting, Deficio, to see if Splyce could consistently execute something that was not late-game team fighting. And it looks like they may try to prove that here. Camille, a big lock-in, but it does mean they're probably going to give up the Tristana.
Yeah. That surprised me as a first pick. Now, you can put a jungle, so there's some flex option with it, but you ban the Jinx, which is clearly a scrim thing, to then first pick Camille and give over Tristana. That makes 0 sense to me. You could have banned the Tristana then. And then if enemy bans the Camille, worst case you first pick Sejuani or you first pick like Rise. But I think I like the Camille Galio. I absolutely love that combo. We talked about Niska playing Galio is a great thing. Just the way it kind of was set up with the Jinx ban, I think that could have been Tristana ban instead. But potentially a bait from Splyce saying, haha, you won't ban the Camille because you're going to trade it. And I think that's a little bit too many mind games.
Yeah, and the biggest issue for me is a lot of good picks have been given over to Schalke that aren't just good picks in the meta, but are good picks for the players, right? We saw Pride be a big part of the engages that helped Schalke bring home their win yesterday. The good news for Splyce, though, is that I do like, as you mentioned, Galio feels like it will be a good pick for Niska.
Yeah,
Abe still on a pretty decent carry in form of Xayah, but Vizicachi on Gangplank, Pride on Zac, upset on Tristana. This feels like a formula for success on the side of Schalke.
I mean, it's very, very standard on Schalke's side. I love Zac so much. I think he's kind of become my favorite jungler to watch in the games because he gives you so many ways to start fights, and typically that's where some teams struggle. When it's like, okay, we don't have hard engage, how do we actually do this? You got to bait around on an objective and kind of falls flat pretty often. So I think Zac just gives you so many ways to always force a team fight. Of course, GP on top side, we know it's going to be the scale for Vizicachi.
And we've seen how that champion can keep up even at severe CS deficits. But interestingly enough, multiple supports ban now coming out. And I feel like this is the risk of Splyce picking Xayah without the Rakan, as they lose a lot of the good pairings.
I think they're looking at all the AD carry bans plus Tristana already taken, saying this is the best remaining AD carry. I still think Varus was there. They could have grabbed later on, which could have been fine, or maybe even better without the Rakan. I just want to see support options. Again, standard is like Braum, Tahm Kench, Taric. I want to just mention Morgana. Not that I think Morgana Xayah specifically is that amazing, but when you have Camille and Galio, the combo is always Camille dives in and Galio ults. But
funny enough, on a completely different Splyce lineup, we saw the Morgana, Galio, Camille combo work.
We saw that against G2.
Now, interesting thing as we talk more about Zac, 70% win rate currently in Europe this split.
He's good.
Clearly rising as a huge priority jungler.
And like him with Taric even more, because then you can apply the stun with the Zac flying in. So great engage options on Schalke's side, and they have the Tristana ult to try and peel away their Camille when she jumps in. Let's see, is it going to be Camille top photo and they pick a different jungler, or do they put the Camille jungle and say, okay, we want to run a specific counter pick maybe to GP?
Gnar is up and available. It has had really good lane matchups. Jax,
Jungle Jax,
more likely a jungler, yeah.
Support-wise, Braum is still there, and Tahm Kench available. Braum is fine here. Braum is always fine. He's just generally great. But again, do they want the Black Shield to make sure Camille doesn't get knocked out when she goes in?
And can they afford to not take a tanky support in terms of team
it's risky. It's definitely risky for them. It is. Zillion also is available for Kissing. I think Braum is just a safe choice in any situation.
Yeah, Braum is a really good support, as it turns out. The ability to block 80 carry damage, the ability to disengage. But Deficio, I feel like Splyce are all in on individual players.
You're probably going to get Corki, but I would like Talia coming in from Nukeduck. I think it's a great pick against Galio. I think it's really good at punching sides.
Ryze actually still available, interestingly.
Okay. Some teams don't like playing Ryze anymore. They feel like he's too snowballing. He needs to snowball too much to really be strong. Yeah. So they're like, just go for safer late game.
And to be fair, snowballing as a Galio, not always an easy thing. Kind of just neutralizes a lot of the lane matchups. Now, at Deficio, we have 2 full compositions locked in. I am no genius, but I feel like Schalke have pretty clear goals as to what they want to do in this game.
Well, on their side, when you have Gangplank on one side lane, Ryze in the other one, Tristana can always hold mid. You get that standard setup where you can play all 3 lanes, but it always comes down to team fighting when you look at a draft like this one with Taric and Zac. Same on the other side. I just feel like more pick potential on Splyce's side. I love Camille Galio. We talk about it over and over because you can't get out of that Camille ulti, and Galio ulti will land on you. And then Xerxes Jax was okay last time he played it, but it's not really his play style often. Like, he's not the kind of guy to just take over in a side lane as a Jax jungle and dominate the game. I want to see what he can do, and I want to see what Copy can do in Xayah without Rakan.
That's going to be really interesting, because we've seen how devastating the pick can be. We saw it yesterday in the hands of Reckless and Hylissang, how when you find great engages, it can just cut through teams. But without that nice bit of mobility, extra bit of engage, this is a much more defensive lane than we may have expected. But 2 very interesting compositions. Schalke keeping it standard in the meta as kind of expected, and Splyce continue to mix it up in the draft, going with a lot of bold choices.
Yeah, we definitely have to say, banning the Jinx instead of a Tristana to then not first pick the Tristana is very unusual here in Europe. Take that Camille for Odo Amne, say, okay, we know this is the champion he can actually take over in the side lane with. We saw it against Giants where he successfully did it. We had that 1v2 play against Steelback and Ruin. This game against the GP, he's not going to be too scared going up against Chachi specifically. And he knows there's always backup from Niski. And I'm really glad to see Niski get on a support, or sorry, not a support, but on a mid laner that can be supportive because he's not been the biggest carry on his own.
Definitely has been the case. He's had some good moments. He's had some really weak moments as well. It seems like Splyce have identified that he serves the utility role much better. See how he does up against Nukeduck. Nukeduck, of course, a terrifying rise last season, has been doing pretty well this season as well on the champion.
Minions have
And
spawned.
as we check in on itemization, you can see Gangplank taking what is now kind of a standard early support item for the Bandit passive. Has opted for Spell Thief's Edge, though a little bit different. It seems like every top laner has a personal preference in terms of what they want to pick. At the end of the day, it's all the same. It's all gold generation. The Bandit proc is always going to be the 10 gold on the parlay.
Let's see what else we have here. Bottom side of the Taric Tristana, super safe lane from Schalke side. We saw yesterday that it's not about winning bot lane for Upset and Bandit. We've seen that back in Challenger as well. It's been a lot about get to team fights with the young AD carry and then make sure that he can actually jump forward and play aggressive.
Yeah, and it's interesting because last time they played, it was actually Schalke who was very much in control of the early game, not playing towards more of a late game.
Oh, wait.
Splyce
We got
who
level
came
2
back.
gank. I think you just got spotted, yes. The ward being placed there just spotted Xerxes on the bottom side and another ward then in the river soil. But yeah, we got the gold graphs. This is what we just showed in the pick and ban phase where it was a dead even game until we got far enough in that copy was actually so strong. Oh, sorry, it was a dead even game for the first 30 minutes and then Schalke took over. We were calling it a win already. Hype, football club, all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly, Zillion and Caitlyn made it possible for
Turns
Copy
out it's
to
hard to get
pentakill.
on top of a Zillion, Caitlyn, Vigar.
He's doing it again, Xerxes. Last time he was bottom side. Now the ward did disappear around the Drake, so he snuck his way in. He didn't even finish his Raptor camp because he saw Pride on this ward near the Raptor camp on Schalke's side. And therefore he knew, okay, I have a chance now to rush in and take away the blue buff.
And this is ambitious, but it's also a bit of a punishment onto Pride for not securing his buffs early on. Of course, he's staying even in experience thus far, but will miss out on having the blue buff.
Can even do a Grump if he wants to. I don't think Schalke can do anything to stop him. Pride will have to recall. He's very low after the first clear. Nodama gets a good little trade.
The news from Chachi is staying even in CS. He has the minion dematerializer as well, so it should be pretty good for him. Pride actually taking some clever pathing. You can see they took the blast cone as well to try to sneak his way into this top lane.
Oh, I don't know if I like it. It's taken so long because he was about to recall. He then stopped that, and now Splyce have time to collapse on him. I don't like this play at all from Pride.
Very risky. Blast cone's available for Xerxes. He's going to take it, goes over the wall. Pride needs to make his way out. Can he get out before the CC connects? Actually looks like he manages to get away. That very well could have been first blood if he stayed around any longer. Will still get denied the camp. Still an advantage over to Splyce, but high risk play there.
That was very indecisive overall from Pride. After doing the Grump on top side, he was like, okay, I'm low, I should go back. And he was like, wait a minute, I shouldn't go back. Okay, we now kind of figure out that Xerxes has taken our blue buff, so I'm going to take his. But if you wait so long, of course, Xerxes is just going to walk back to his own blue and stop you. So Pride had to go back. Ended up losing both blue buffs and almost lost his life. I wonder how it actually looked if we had the vision on, because he was in the brush and he snuck around the corner when Xerxes jumped over with the blast cone. I don't know if he knew exactly where Pride would be.
Yeah, Pride really just desperate to get some of this experience back that he lost from camp speed taken away from him. Does ward up the Raptors. Has not spotted Jax on the top side, so will not take the risk of invading yet. But once he goes back into his own jungle, they will know that he is there. Will mean that Xerxes can gank with a lot of confidence.
But it's interesting that Xerxes went for the gank here. I think he could just gone for power farm route. He had so many camps left to do. And if he just like took the 2 on top side, went down to Raptor, Pride can't really invade him. At this point, he's only like level 3 on the Zac before he just took this Grump. So I understand Xerxes saw a big wave pushing against Kimberly. He's like, there's a chance. Chachi played it smart and just backed away. I think Xerxes could have just gone for full power farming and get an experience advantage.
Chachi faring much better in the early matchup than Ruin was, but now, eyes on the play. That will be the stun connecting, but good input buffer on the rocket jump means Upset makes it out to safety. Even trades on the bot side so far. And really just about every single lane going even right now.
I have to follow what Nukdog can do. Schalke early game often rely a lot on him to be successful, but when you're playing Ryze against Galio, you can't kill the Galio. And if you go to the side lane, Galio follows with ulti, so it gets really difficult for Ryze to kind of snowball the game in this specific matchup, unless you hard camp Niski. There's nothing to camp right now, he's sitting under his turret, so that's not going to work for Nukdog.
And pretty difficult when both of your sources of damage are magic to dive the Galio in the early game. Even if you have the chain CC to lock him down if he's sitting under that tower, especially when he goes for the early Abyssal Mask. So this looks like it may be more of a game about mid-game. The question is then, who actually has the advantage at that point in the game, officially?
You got IH double Zeal on one side for Upset, you got Essence Reaver on the other side for Kobe. That's just traditional build, so Xayah on one item and Tristana on one item. Nothing fancy, you know, you don't have to be that insanely scared of them. Mid lane wise, I think that unless the Ryze can really force picks, then Splyce will be fine just kind of waiting and scaling. But as it is so often in this meta, the other team are also fine doing that. It's like, oh, okay. I guess we just go late game team fights.
You guys want to scale? We want to scale.
And then we team fight in the end. I think though, Niski, what he can do is he can play aggressive on top side. Try and dive the gangplank. Because if you look at it, Odamna goes in, you force a stopwatch from Visichachi in the first dive, and then you back out, and you then dive him again a minute or two later. And you can actually kill the GP, you can take his turret. I think that's something European teams are not doing very often. And in this game here, with a Galio, it's a bit easier, because you can just ult towards the top lane.
Are good options there to kind of force these mid-game plays. We've seen teams with the Galio be proactive in the past. Misfits even, and I think one of the first games of the EU LCS did not work out for them. Can be played around, but can also be brutally effective if teams are not ready for it. Junglers now approaching level 6. Will be a nice bit of dueling power and tankiness added for Xerxes, as opposed to a very nice engage, escape, just about everything kind of ultimate for Pride.
Let's see here, Niski is moving bottom side with Xerxes. Remember guys, there is stopwatch on the Tristana. There is no Terragol just yet, but it's a risky tower dive to go for. That's why I always prefer top side. If you run things like Camille, because you're only diving one member. And it's a lot harder for GP to stay alive. He's very low now. I think Niski, if he can push mid and go top, they force Visichachi away.
Definitely is the case, and I think when we look at top lane, it's, I mean, Visichachi versus Ottawamne is kind of such a historic matchup in EU LCS, and also, despite Ottawamne really, really struggling this season, I like that Splyce are continuously willing to give him these chances on these kind of carry-style champions.
Yeah, they know he needs to be one of the carry players on this lineup for them to succeed. Niski really wants to go for this play we talked about. He's here now.
Shot wall dive. Upset's on the way, though. They do get the flash.
There's some very good wards also placed by Schalke on top side to spot the Galio moving. Now Odamna needs to know that bot lane's gone missing, and there's a chance to come top. He clearly ignores it.
For a bit more of a chance to outplay. No, what? Not going to use the stopwatch. Upset's in the middle of everything. He might go down too. Has to use heal to back out. Where was the stopwatch?
He tried to bait it. I think he took more damage from that second Q from Odamna than he expected. That was a bad one from Chachi. Bot lane tower's going to go down now.
This is going to be a huge loss of tempo. Splyce can take it.
Galio can wave clear top. I don't know if Nukdog can actually kill the mid turret in time. I don't think so. So they lose first turret. The GP over by time.
But they have another wave coming. They have another wave coming.
Yeah, there's another wave. Plus, there's Galio wave to the top. Splyce gets this.
Get it.
Hey!
This key deletes the wave. It's immediate.
Nukdog can dive top, though. Look at this. Nukdog's on the way. Odamna's here, too.
I mean, they need this to work, or everything's going to fall apart. Going for a little bit more. Looks like he will get taken down. Niski is dead. Creep wave is still so far away, though. Nukdog is going to get locked down under tower. He might get taken out. He's going to live, but...
They're losing Infernal Drake. Schalke tried to get something after what was a really bad play on their side. They did get a 1 kill onto Niski. That was it. First turret gone. Infernal Drake and a kill for Splyce. Let's see it again. Chachi wants to bait. Odamna here, this is actually really greedy what he's doing. Because the bot lane's been missing for a long time, so he needs to respect the lane swap top. He goes in anyway because Niski spent so much time trying to set up this play, and it's all a bait. But I think Chachi did not expect the damage from Q plus Galio ult, and he didn't get to stopwatch. Had he just hit the stopwatch, bot lane would have arrived in time to try and turn this around.
And maybe he still dies, but then Schalke can at least fire back. All right. The crowd feeling it. They like that there's early action.
the one play top lane.
I think it's a good play.
It was I mean, it's a...
And very surprising misstep for Vizicachi. Normally really good in mechanical scenarios.
Well, we just saw before, he's played 218 games in the LCS. That is the second most out of all top laners, only destroyed by the old man Soaz.
Old mate Soaz. So wise. Doesn't even need flash anymore. That's the Soaz life. Now, however, Deficio, we do see the full lane swap come out. Schalke definitively behind now. Only 500 gold, but Camille with a kill is a pretty unfortunate situation for them to be in. We talked about snowballing for Splyce. Is this enough to really get the ball rolling?
As long as they can keep getting Odohamne further ahead, then yeah, I think it is. Because we looked at it before with Splyce's comp. You have this Galio who can keep diving the gangplank. This stopwatch might get used next time, and then Chachi's all out of defensive options on his side. I think those Schalke, as long as they keep it like this, with GP, Zac, Tristana, and Tarek, those are 4 insane late game champions. I think they're going to be fine. Because I really like their late game. I just want to see more of this.
Wait, it's the combo one more time. Galio's on the way in. Are we going to see the use of the stopwatch? Good patience comes in for Vizicachi. Tries to make Orange's K. Not going to be enough. Still doesn't use the stopwatch.
Thank you, Splyce, for showing what you should do when you have Galio plus Camille. Against things like Gangplank, slow scaling, can't really kill you, just destroy him. I don't think he should use stopwatch there. There's no way he survives.
Yeah, just not going to be the case.
Save it for like a potential tower dive. Let's see if Splyce can react fast enough to actually stop this. They have TP on Camille. If they move up here with Niski, they can stop this Rift Herald.
If they deny this, they're going to be so far ahead because Link sees it coming. There is a ward there right in the river, but they have to be ready for a full-on 5v5 at this rate. Mages settle for bot lane pressure, denying a wave to Vizicachi. Odoamne can
this is
push
good.
on the bottom.
This is good. I like it, Splyce.
Down.
I like good calls. Schalke do not have any advantage in any lane, so they don't have a free Rift Herald they can start, despite Niski showing bot lane. Gotta remember, double TP and Splyce. They can always just TP up.
And one of our biggest criticisms of Splyce has been that they are been pretty abysmal at playing the early game, but this time they're playing much better. They're playing the 1-3-1 strategy that we've seen be successful once or twice, reaffirming that this is something that they are good at by just constantly punishing the top lane matchup.
And we talked about why this Galio is so key for Splyce. Why it was so important in the draft. Because we have seen now, it allows them to kill Chachi and still stop anything from top side because of double TP. It's really hard for Schalke in the early game to force any plays, so they have to just scale. I think even starting the Rift Herald there was a little bit greedy on Schalke's side, as it allows Splyce to go in and stop them, force Schalke to jump away, and then it's just a free Rift Herald for Splyce. Instead, just delay, push top, push mid, and accept that you just want to scale.
And for Schalke, they go from feeling okay about going even because they have better scaling to being a little bit worried about falling so far behind in the early game. Cersei on the run, no option to connect the stretching strikes there. And a bit grim. They can still hold, they can still survive under their towers if they move across the map correctly, but definitely the kind of early deficit Schalke were looking to avoid.
Also because Chachi knows if he walks down this lane and he's not under his turret, he's probably gonna die. No one is forcing a defensive ulti from Niski, because Schalke are not making a play on the other side. It's hard against the Braum, the double TP. Splyce are in full control at the moment. Will just eventually get down enough turrets. And there's another Infernal spawning in 1 minute 30 seconds.
Could be good for him. Double Infernal. Four champions who are happy to have the AD or AP. Exactly what they want. Trinity Force is now completed for the Camille as well, so she is going to be even more of a dueling nightmare. Luckily for Schalke, Upset has completed the static ship as his first major item. Will allow him to clear a lot of the waves out. May not be enough, though. Sync can body block for the minions if necessary.
Oh, do it. No. The best play as a Galio is when you walk in and you get every single small wrapped on that Q. Top lane tower falling.
Yeah, there's the body block from Kasing, denies the minion kills.
Pressure side lanes. go even mid. It's all you need to do if you are Splyce. And they keep doing it, and they do it really well. Chachi is scared every single time Odamne does anything, and he's like, yep, I might die here. And Odamne keeps controlling the lane.
Ooh, denying the barrels too.
Because you gotta remember, normally GP can like orange out of most things, and he's like, haha. Doesn't work against their ult from Camille. You're not getting out.
You're not getting out. And also the stun, by the time you've cleansed out of the stun from her, she's already on top of you. She already gets the attack speed steroid, so it's not even... It's nice to have the heal, but ultimately it's still unfortunate. You cannot stop the Camille from finding a way into melee range.
They're gonna lose every outer turret now.
Taken down. 3k gold lead Deficio 15 minutes into the game. This is massive for Splyce.
It's so good to see Splyce do this again. Because after the first game against Giants, we're like, yeah, that was one game. We need to see it a few more times before we really believe in the Splyce early game. This one here, they're executing it very cleanly. I like this a lot. I think they're punishing Schalke also for being a bit greedy. Double Inferno. All 3 outer turrets down. Top lane turret, not gonna die. It's just Chachi. Niski and Odamne might actually just go up and kill him.
And Splyce proving that they're quite good at moving around the map. Sometimes don't have the strongest positional players, but definitely bring it home. The flash forward, no hesitation. There's the combo, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, but now he can buy time because look at the minimap. Pride is underway. Nuke Duck's ult is all there.
Doesn't have the oranges. Looks like he might go down. Vizicachi still making it out to safety. Could escape. Comes in from Pride. Wants to bring it in. Nuke Duck to do the damage. That's the turn and burn. Making it all too predictable. Splyce want to play it by the book, but Schalke have read the book. They know what's coming, and they turn it around.
Oh, jump.
Yeah, he's going to be going down. Shane CC tries to make his way out to safety. Not going to be enough. Slap into a minion. Now kiss and walk it away.
Chachi's safety stopwatch for this moment. That's why I didn't use it early in the game. It's like, yeah, that's going to be
Nobody combo ults Vizicachi 3 times in a row.
That is definitely true. Odamne, it's like, we got him, it's easy. But because of the stopwatch, Pride got in range, and Nuke Duck was running the entire time to be like, oh, I'm coming. Ooh, more fights.
Oh. TP now coming in, though. They're looking to bring it back. Realm Warp is available. I don't think he has the mana, however. He's going to back it out. Yep.
His stopwatch.
Buys time for Vizicachi. Can they turn this? No. Barrels go, though. The rest of the team is ready to chase. They don't want the dive. Are going to have to back off. Bit of an overstay,
no,
but upset grabs.
Podcast, you are correct. And Splyce, did you get that one? Did I force it too much?
I mean, what are you telling me? That it's available on iTunes and SoundCloud and YouTube?
No, it's because you said they don't want the dive. And I said, no, they want you.
No, I know. I was, just being the show.
Oh, I thought you didn't get it.
No, I didn't hear the dive part, actually.
See? I knew you didn't get it. Because then you'd be like, ha ha, yes, funniest joke I've ever heard. And you didn't say
Is that what you need from me? Is that the kind of support you need from this podcast co-host relationship?
It is. Also, I like the dive, but still.
We need a European one. Anyway.
Man, that one felt so flat.
It was,
I thought it was so funny in the moment.
No, I mean, it was...
I thought it was clever.
You know, Deficio's hard. Comedy is hard. I think, guys, we need to make Deficio feel better. Does anyone...
No.
Can we just get a really big, like, fake haha for Deficio?
That now he's just making it worse. Thank you, guys.
I made me feel better, though.
I know it's a great joke. You guys should all go watch the moment.
So funny. I appreciate you, crowd. You smart, you loyal.
Fun fact, one of the things that increased Quickshot and my synergy was that in the past, when I said something Quickshot liked, he used to mute when he was laughing.
Oh, and
so
now
there would be very
unmutes.
awkward silence, and I'd be like, oh, now that sounded bad. But now he just makes sure he never mutes, and he just laughs really loudly.
He does laugh so loudly.
He does.
All right, Deficio. Well, good news for Schalke is that they brought the gold difference down a little bit. They have gotten the turret back for themselves. It's only a 1k difference. A lot of that is going to be the GP Club Demancy. But they're still going up against 2 Infernal Dragons. And they still have to be very scared for Vizicachi because they can still Camille Galio combo.
Exactly. That combo will never be bad in this game. We'll almost always secure a kill for Splyce. Unless Corby can, like, not Corby, Upset can shoot Odamne back out, so maybe he can jump. Or there's a stopwatch. Because that is the one thing I've noticed as a carry against the Camille Galio combo. Because you're with your team. When they jump you and you're like, okay, this is going to hurt. If you have stopwatch, it buys you enough time to then let Vander come in with his ulti. There's probably going to be a rocket shield as well. And if you survive the initial engage from Galio Camille, they're pretty easy to kill. They're fairly squishy, and then you can actually win the fights.
Really easy to punish it, you're right, if you have the tools to do so. Of course, only one stopwatch available, and it is on upset. So maybe a mid-game team fight can be turned.
Also why I'm going to look at Nukedog and see if he goes Hourglass in this game. Despite the combo of Hourglass, all the way is not there. Thank you, Nukedog, my man.
Oh. Ooh. 26 health, Odoamne says, I'll take that.
He's been taking a lot from Chachi in this game.
Yeah, look at this.
And now he wants to try and kill him. Niski's in range.
Ready for the hookshot wall dive.
Niski put a control ward, realized he was spotted, didn't go for it. But Nukedog did go for that early Hourglass, and again, as I was about to say, the ult Hourglass combo is dead. It's patch 8.3, but the Hourglass versus Camille Galio engage
still a good choice.
Always works.
No more safe escapes. Can still fancy footwork your way out. Probably not as likely against.
Oh, they're gonna dive.
Vizichachi running. Is he actually going to make it out? Hookshot wall dive. Flash! Nice play. Odoamne running. He's still tanking the tower. He's still tanking it. Nope. He's going to make it to safety. Sliver of life left for Odoamne. He was on the verge of dying there for that dive, and Upset and Vander want to make sure that they finish the kill. They have the leap ready. You can attach a stun to that Tristana and bring it home. Not going to chase any further onto Niski.
They were looking for wards. That was it. Sweeper was on from Vander's side. Knew they couldn't go for the kills. Sadly for them, there's nothing else they can do in the map because we're only 21 minutes in and you can't really four-man the Baron instantly. They really like warding up one little line on the map. There's like so many red wards in just a single line from Raptor Camp past the mid lane brush. I'm not sure why they're so scared of that one little area.
Neither am I, Deficio. Why would you stay away? But Kabi's on wave clear duty. He has hit the 2-item threshold. Matched now by Upset, which is a little unfortunate because the IE static shift does do so much. And Nukedog, man, this is just becoming more and more the European Classic. So many players have been hiding in bushes today.
Well, that's why Kabi doesn't fall for it. He's seen it all before. Niski could also TP in, worst case.
Oh, trying to catch Kabi sleeping.
Oh, they see him. Everyone sees everyone on top side because there's a million wards.
They're just looking, man. They're waiting. They're testing the waters. They want to see if you're too busy thinking about that third item.
I love this little area here. It's really warded by Schalke.
There's a lot of those zombie wards, so a lot of those could be cleared out from the enemy too. In the meantime, Xerxes sees.
He might get
the wards.
Never mind, Chachi did not go down. So we're kind of still at the point in the game where Schalke wants to keep stalling. They want to get rapid fire cannon on Tristana. They want to get Serix on the GP and make sure that Chachi doesn't die more in the side lane. Nukedog, wait, Kabi, why is Kabi, what's Kabi doing?
Kabi is going to get stunned. And now Pride is on the way as well. He does manage to connect with the flash forward, brings him back. This is going to make it easy for Nukedog. He's trying to find a clear way through the creeps and does get the kill in the end.
Man, Kabi, half your team went back to base. No one was there to help you, and Kabi just started pushing the lane all on his own. He got punished instantly. Nukedog is like, yeah, that's an AD carry out of position.
Odd misstep from Kabi. We talked about how consistent he is, and this is
that's
a rare mistake.
European Classic, though. One more wave. You always need one more wave before you go back to base. It's like in Ziv. You always need one more turn. You can never just stop. Gotta get more farm, and then you gotta die and lose a turret for your team. Okay. Yeah, give him that. Give him a pause for that one. Yeah.
He stopped the backs. They're chasing the fight. It actually is a good choice, Deficio.
Let's see if it is.
Odoamne is on the way in. They have the ability to knock him back, and he doesn't want to take it. It wasn't a good choice.
There we go.
Guys, he didn't want to go. That one, yeah. Good job, Kasim.
They want to kill that
He
ward.
denied the backs. The team made the call. They tried to go for it, and then they realized, it's Tristana with an hourglass and still has ultimate, so she's just going to ult us away.
Listen, it made sense. It just looked really funny. Like, he wasn't even close to hitting it. But again, he stopped the recalls. You are correct.
It's like a super alpha move, though. That's the true zoning ult. It says, get away from this spot that you're not actually standing on or have any intention to stand on.
Didn't work sadly for Splyce this time, and they had to use TP from Odoamne, so that kind of sucks for them. Can always put Niski in the bottom side if they want to, because we are looking around Baron soon.
And interesting, confident enough in their lead that they're going to opt to put Xerxes on the Trinity Force Jax as opposed to going for the full tank build.
Well, one thing we do see is Trinity Force Warmox. And then you're like, Warmox just becomes your early tank item, because you can't get both magic and armor magic resist and armor, so you just get pure HP. And Warmox.
And to be fair, Jax
really
has built in on his ultimate, in terms of MR and armor.
So that would make a lot of sense for him if that's what he goes for. Or he goes for Sterix now, and it is the classic, the one we see on GP, 24 Sterix, which just gives you a ton of extra damage in team fights, but is of course not as tanky as a pure Warmox. Now it is Splyce's turn though to ward up everything on top side, smack the Rift Scuttler in the face. Will they go Baron early and bait a fight? It is a no for now, and they have not been able to further snowball bottom side. So the whole thing is kind of slowed down for Splyce, which is not what they were looking for, because there's a rapid fire cannon now on the Tristana.
We've seen this point before with the show. This is that 3-item point that people seem to talk about a lot with AD carries. That's a terrifying proposition for the opposing team.
Yeah, this is actually what turned the game around yesterday for Schalke. When we had 3 items on upset, he won the next team fight for them, and they came back in the game against Misfits. And the fact that his stopwatch still sitting there, crucial for the first big team fight of the game.
And really scary too, because Splyce went from having a pretty substantial lead, from snowballing, from playing to their win conditions, to a very even game against a team that really does just want to scale, and is now playing with a lot more confidence, from losing across all side lanes to suddenly being free to group in the mid lane.
And Odamne, no TP. He's bot lane. Schalke, if they push mid and go Baron, Odamne can't join. It is definitely a possibility for the Schalke team. Can always tank with the Zac. Odamne is sitting here.
Trinity Force means he does make short work of the towers. Vizichachi is there, but he can't afford to be missing from that lane for too long, or they will lose a tier 2.
But now, top is pushing for Schalke. Nukta can walk down towards mid lane, always get the play again.
He wants it. Can he make his way out? Is going to orange flash out. Clears the wave as well with the Cannon Barrage. Does deal a little bit more damage onto Odamne. He knows that only one member can really afford to die. Backs out, no kills either side. Banner ready to go in, but no one going to make the play yet.
Interesting that the last time we saw this play, Chachi had flash, and he used it to get away. Now they waited so long that he got flash again, and had the exact same reaction as before. Flashes out, stays alive. Ooh,
Odo.
He realized he got a barrel in his face.
Does not want to go in there. And the Sterix gauge, of course, is down. Rise coming in with the Realm Warp. Odamne just going for the hookshot wall dive over. Quick, easy escape.
It's a little bit surprising that Schalke did not try and play around Baron more when Odamne was sitting bot lane without teleport. Nukdog had actually pushed top and could have gone mid to force the control, but he decided to take a more defensive path towards it. Nonetheless, Schalke with control.
Yeah, and tempo in their favor. They're actually going to look to take down this tier 2. Only one member there thus far. Camille is coming over the wall, though, so Upset does have to be careful here. Going to give them the respect they deserve. Cersei threatening to engage. And sadly, didn't really have any wards in their inventory, so they're not able to get a lot of deep vision here yet in the side of Splyce. Focusing. That might be the pick. They're looking to bring it home. Unbreakable, but how unbreakable is he really? Upset leaps past, tries to get through the shield. Is going to take him down in the end. Nice pick comes in for Schalke.
Gonna get a turret. They might actually try and go for something more here because there are 3 members mid lane from Splyce. Chachi's there to try and wave clear.
Ready, the Galio's coming as well. They're looking for the base race, but this isn't a good bet. That's Tristana. She's built to take towers. She's going to take one now. They may look for the inhibitor as well. This is going to be a huge advantage.
And Niski will get mid tower at least, but they're losing a lot from this. One pick onto Gesing. Cersei was kind of running back and forth near the mid lane. Didn't know if he had to recall or not. And they still can't kill Chachi.
So Chachi denying Niski's back. Everyone is healthy. They can go right for Baron right now.
Oh, Odo's TP's up in a few seconds, so he can join. Gesing is coming as well. I think all of Splyce are trying to be there in time. Niski can join. All right.
Schalke starting it. This Baron could be everything. Looks like instead they're going to look to try to make a pick. Just backing off, trying to bait some cooldowns.
All spamming this ward.
Yeah, because they want the teleport flank and Schalke know about it, so they're backing off. Schalke going to be forced to clear out the wave on the bottom side as it will be pushing towards them. Maybe this is a chance for Splyce to put down a little bit of vision in that pit. Make sure this is not going to go out without their knowledge.
I think it's a bit harder for Splyce though now. Because when they're playing around Baron, ideally with their comp they get to flank engage with Odo, so he always gets to reach opposite in the back line. They're starting it. Chachi can TP in, so they force the TP at least. That's all they were looking for actually, just force the TP, walk away.
Good patient play around the Baron.
And now they could send Niski bot lane after this whole thing is over. He pushes out, and if Chachi's there to match, Splyce goes Baron and Niski TP's in. It is a possibility. None of the teams have really committed to Baron yet. in this game, which is again why we haven't really had the big team fight that could be forced around it.
Neither team wants to make a mistake here because we can see right now in the Splyce lineup that they're going to struggle to clear out Baron empowered cannon creeps. But Splyce going to grab their 4th dragon of the game, completely and totally uncontested. So double Infernal, a Cloud, and an Ocean to back them up now. However, Upset has said that even more terrifying for right at point. No longer is he scared of the tankier members in Xerxes and Oruwamne. He can tread through just about anybody on this team. So Splyce really fighting against the clock here. May have to make sure to shut down Upset if they're going to find a fight. But he still has the Hourglass to Officio.
Yeah, he's just been sitting on it. Again, we mentioned how it's super important to have this for the next team fight against Camille Gallio, and both teams looking for that one fight that swings the game in their favor. We know both of them. Oh, let's see what happens here.
Could be another pick on a Kasing. Has he stayed too far? Unbreakable is there. The Gangplank ult is on the backside. They're trying to save him with the Galio. Nukeduck does go golden now, backing off. Cosmic Radiance coming in, trying to save the team as they peel back. Vander on the front line, the triple stun! Upset pushing more. No one's going to drop down yet. Camille on the way. Gangplank on the way. Who's going to make their way into this fight next? Stunned up. No Cosmic Radiance anymore. No way to save Upset. Does still have the stopwatch for himself.
Nobody died, but Schalke, they're near the Baron. Gotta remember the Taric heal on Baron is insane because you can just constantly spam heal. There's enough mana on Vander's side. I think they realized that Splyce would stay around and they can't actually do it.
Backing off. Big wave pushing bot side. They might be able to grab a tier 2 for free off the back of this exchange for Splyce.
This game is going to be tense. 2 teams is by no means, sure to make playoffs just yet. 2 teams where it would be a giant failure, I feel like, for the organization if they do not make top 6. You guys can see the Splyce and Schalke are currently tied 5 and 6 at that 5th place spot. Underneath them, H2K and Unicorns both picked up wins today. Lose this, and next week they might tie you.
Definitely the case. Now to Officio, I think we look across the board and I have to wonder what exactly is the best option for Splyce here, because every time you look at me, we point to Upset. We go, when is that next item coming in? When is it going to be full build? And it's, until Splyce take away that stopwatch, it's hard for me to be 100% confident they can even win a fight cleanly.
I think after the stopwatch, he could go for GA, just upgrade into that, and then have that for his next team fight, where in case they do take him down with the all-in of Camille Gallio, he gets back. I can still fight, and that Locket is going to be key from Vander as well. His own shield plus Locket plus the healing plus the Taric ult. Like, Taric is like the best late-game support for these kind of team fights, where it's all about enemy team diving your backline. His ult just comes down every single time.
I mean, the good news, if you're on the side of Splyce, is you have a lot of burst damage. You have a Jax who's building AD items, the Styrex Trinity Force.
But that's the thing, you can't burst through the Taric, so eventually these squishy guys like full AP Galio, Tank, also DPS, Camille, and Jax, like, they die pretty quickly to a Rise and Tristan Legem. Oh, they're in the Baron Pit.
Yep, the invade into the Baron Pit. The TP is now coming in. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Niski and Oruwamne in the middle of the pit? They're trying to complete it. He immediately goes in onto Upset. Upset's going to push him back. Has not used the stopwatch yet. Niski tries to bring it back. They do manage to take it away. Baron has gone down. Nukeduck running for his life. The rest of the team, it's absolute chaos. Nukeduck's going to die here at the hands of Splyce. Vizichachi could be next. They're going to cut through him as well. No, he's retreating, trying to get what damage he can. This is absolute disaster for Schalke. Everything has fallen apart.
Schalke used the Rise ulti into the Baron Pit. They tried to rush it down, but Xerxes last second got in there and stole the Baron. And then they win the fight because Schalke is just split up completely. Zag is gonna die. They got 3 members pushing for Inip. It's only Chachi alive.
47 seconds on Pride, 30 on Upset. They might just be able to end the game here. They have the creep wave. Gangplank needs to clear it out, but they could just threaten the dive.
Oh, it's not
Splyce, do they feel good? They're just going to go right into Vizichachi. Look at the Camille damage. Vizichachi runs for his life. He has been bullied away. They're going to get at least 1 tower. The Baron empowered cannon creep will not get in range of the tower, though. It's going to be a little bit difficult.
5 seconds right now on Nukeduck. He's almost alive.
Trying to kill it, trying to take it down. The TP now coming in for the rest of the team. Vander is here. Can they kill the 80 carry before this ends? It doesn't look like it. Splyce. What a win!
I was expecting a 60-minute long game of Baron baits into a few team fights here and there, back and forth, because this game was slow in many ways. As one team tried to keep killing side lanes, and then when that kind of stopped, Schalke took over a little bit. None of the teams really abused like big windows in their favor. but it was Schalke who rushed the Baron. It was technically a fine call with the Rise ulti.
They just didn't know about the single ward. It might have been. I don't. Deficio.
We have to see that play again.
We have to see it again. And at the end of the day, no matter what happened there, we have to congratulate Splyce. Incredibly decisive in a very critical moment.
Oh, yes. Schalke currently only one win ahead.
And we were wondering, putting their faith in Odawamne over and over again on this Camille, but
they did play around it. And I like that. A lot of teams have tried to do this, and then they're like, nah, I never want to go top. That's for losers. I want to go bot lane instead, and then it's useless. But they did actually do it, which got Odawamne pretty far ahead.
And Schalke managed to come back. But then when it mattered most, they were able to pull it together. I've been told we do have a replay now ready of the final fight, and that's the Splyce players hug it out and enjoy their moment of victory. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, so it is Rise ult into the Baron pit. Great to rush it down. There's
they had vision the whole time.
Yeah, but Kissing is recalling. Galio's not even nearby. I think even with vision there, the play is okay from Schalke. Obviously, you want to have a control ward that catches the entire pit. Let's see the fight. So now they have to finish Baron. Xerxes, go! Oh, they got it. And now the fight is on. Nuke Dog is completely split from the rest of the team. And
walks face first into Kissing.
So he's down now. Upset jumps out, hits one member there, doesn't kill anyone, doesn't manage to kill Copy, and now he finds himself overextended.
Oh, man. That's it, Deficio. That's all it takes is if they just hit the smite. Would it have even been enough? Would they have just died in that pit? They might not have lost the game, but...
I mean, it's hard to say because then right after, Nuke Duck gets split off from the team, and then suddenly he goes down while the fight is still on, and Splyce was in a good position because one team is stuck in a Baron pit, and you can put your tanks in the entrance.
And it turns out Camille ult and Galio ult very close to the size of a Baron pit.
Yes.
I mean, it's a dream setup. And
I didn't expect this game to end.
I was ready to scale.
Yeah, I was like, we're here for another 30 minutes of just back and forth fighting.
Yeah, and I'm excited because we're getting ready for an interview with Kissing, and I want to see how he felt. I wonder if he was also expecting a 60-minute game, like if he thought that we were just going to go back and forth and back and forth.
I think it was his great shot calling, saying when they go into the Baron
we
pit,
criticized him for being late, but then because he came in late, Nuke Duck is like retreating, like, I've made it out safe, guys. Don't worry.
Surprise attack, Kissing is here.
Remember that ult that I threw to zone you? All a bait, false sense of confidence.
Oh man, this game interesting. I think I like Odawamne's Camille. I'll say that much.
I like Kissing's Braum. Let's hear what he has to say after that Splyce win.
What I hope he has to say something. Kissing, congratulations about this game. Really back and forth. How do you explain the end of this game? What made the difference in the end for you to win this one?
To be honest, I think we're just a better team than Schalke. Like, I don't know where this hype comes from, but you know, I think as a team or as a cohesive unit, as 5 players, maybe not how do I say it? Even though we're kind of alike with really good individual players, but I think at Splyce we're just much better as 5 players, pretty much.
And I have one question about the sides of the game, because I recall you have a hard time winning on blue side, except today, of course. Why do you think that's so?
I mean, prior to this match, we had 0% on blue side for some reason. I'm not going to really say or go into too much detail, apart from some games we basically fuck up. Oh, sorry, can't say that, sorry. We basically do bad.
We didn't hear that, it's okay.
Basically, we don't execute our comp correctly, and then after we kind of lose the game, and pretty much, we just lose the game, and there's nothing else we can do. And not to mention, there are some picks that we think are not that good, but then are actually good, and then after, you basically can't read the meta properly. And then after we just did some minor hiccups.
One last question for you. It's going to be a really hyped match after the break. G2 versus Fnatic. Who will take it for you?
I mean, honestly...
Be careful, because they're waiting for you.
All right. Don't hate me. Don't hate me, Fnatic fans, but I think G2 will win because of Hyunwoo.
That's it, and I think the crowd agrees with you. I'm sorry. We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, it's going to be match of the week, Fnatic versus G2. Don't go anywhere.
For a bit more of a chance to outplay. No, what? Nuke Duck's ult. Doesn't have the oranges. Looks like he might go down. Vizitachi still making it out to safety. Good escape comes in from Pride. Wants to bring it in. Nuke Duck to do the damage. That's the turn and burn. Just connected the flash forward. Brings him back. This is going to make it easy for Nuke Duck. He's trying to find a clear way through the creeps. That might be the pick. They're looking to bring it home. Unbreakable, but how unbreakable is he really? Upset leaps past, tries to get through the shield. Is going to take him down. They're trying to complete it. He immediately goes in on the Upset. Upset's going to push him back. Has not used the stopwatch yet. Lansky tries to bring it back. They do manage to take it away. Baron has gone down. Nuke Duck running for his life. The rest of the team, it's absolute chaos. Nuke Duck's going to die. But trying to take it down. The TP now coming in for the rest of the team. Vander is here. Can they kill the 80 carry before this ends? It doesn't.